Okay, let's take a look at this. Where is this at? Is it on the bottom? Is it on the top? It's on the bottom. So that's the bottom. So, what I want to do for that is I want to go in here and add the bottom to the scenario here. The bottom doesn't need a whole lot of UV space because it's the bottom. So I'm going to kind of minimalize that a little bit. Okay. Move that around. There we go. So we've got some texture space in here we can fill up if we want to. So now I'm going to select that again since I know that's the bottom. And I really don't need, everything's laid out just fine, so I'm going to select those, move them over here, right over top, hit the R key, and scale those uniformly up. And that is going to be our bottom. That's the bottom cup, and that is the bottom part, so I'm going to keep those together. UV map those together. I'm going to select a face on this one, go in here, and let's hit the 4 key, see where the heck those are. Oh, there's a teeny little area there, and that's the top, so I want to keep those in the top. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to keep this together. So I need to select a portion of this, UVs, and then right click, go to select shell. I'm going to move that out just a little bit. Oops. That's weird. So I'm going to go ahead and shift select all of this and deselect this part here. And I'm going to scale this down just a little bit. Okay, because I want to get the rest of this in there. Let's move it around a little bit. Let's move this in the middle. It's going to move this stuff around a little bit too as well. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm going to select these UVs here, and I'm going to hold the control key down and deselect those. Move these around a little bit more. Here we go. Okay. Now I know these are UVs for this, so I'm going to scale these up. Okay. And rotate those a little bit. There we go. Rotate them again. There we go. Just rotating. I'm going to use this icon up here. And I'm going to scale this down a little bit so they fit in there. Move them. And it's okay. They're going to be a little bit lopsided for some odd reason. I'm not sure why. Okay. Just make sure I give a space there. All around. Okay. I think, let me bring those out. I think I need to do something with those. I'm not sure if those are... Let me check something out here. I'm going to check something out here really quick. Go in here. I think I'm going to go ahead and planar map those real quick. So I'm going to go to create UVs planar mapping, and we want to go to the y-axis bounding box, project. Okay, and let's go in here. And let's select UVs and select those. Scale those down. Move those. Scale it a little bit higher. So now they're fitting right. There we go. Move those around. I had to do a planar map. I knew something was wrong because they were kind of elongated. And I don't want to have them intersect. That's intersecting. I want them just around the other one. There we go. Perfect. Good. Alright, cool. Got 2 more things left. Hard to believe. So we're just about done. So kind of in a nutshell, doing these exercises are really going to help you understand UV mapping to its core. And let's see, this is the top. take a look. Yep. So I'm going to go in here and do a planar map. Planar mapping, and we already know it's in the Y, but I'll show you. Y-axis, project. Go into UV mapping. Go into UVs. And we're going to go ahead and move this over. And scale this down. And we'll put that on the outside. That'll be the outside rim. There we go. Okay, we're going to move that around a little bit. Okay, so the top is done. We know that's the bottom, or at least we think we know it's the bottom. Okay, so let's go down here and see what's happening. Is this the bottom? No, that's the inside. Underneath, looks like. Okay. So now we're going to go do the same thing here. The outside top. Now those two can be exactly the same, so we're going to overlap those. So to do that, I'm going to go into Create UVs, Planar Mapping, Bounding Box Y. I'm going to go in here, select UVs. So make sure you right click and select UVs, move it in the center of this object or close to it. Scale that down, and we're going to overlap those over the top of the other ones. Let's move that. So these can overlap because they're exactly the same thing and you hardly ever see them. They just need to be UV'd and placed kind of over top of each other like that. There we go, like that. Okay, scale that a little bit more. There we go, close enough. Alright, so there are our UVs. Okay, and so we want to kind of, the first thing we want to do is make sure that once we have the UVs set, that we save our scene. But let's click on UVs again, and let's go ahead and maximize our texture space the best we can. Again, since we're not in gaming, this isn't a huge deal, but it can be a big deal because we do want to make sure that we are not wasting texture space. We want to make sure everything is fitting in as well. Everything is coming out. Okay. And what areas are really, really important to see. Okay. So I'm going to go in here and select this guy right here. And move that over. And of course I can play with this all day long, but really want to just kind of get you started on this. Okay. Having you get better at texturing and how to lay UVs out properly. So when you do actually add materials and stuff, it's going to work as expected. Alright, so that's done. Let's close this and let's save your scene. How do you save your UVs? Well, you can save your UVs two ways, just like you did with the cereal box. One is saving your UVs with the object is important. So I'm going to go ahead and File, Save Scene As, and I'm going to click on my last thing here, and I'm going to type in UV. So I got my basically finished modeling, low poly, and it's UV, and I'm going to save as, continue. So those are my UVs. And if you're feeling brave, we're going to go in here to edit, delete by type history, freeze transformations. Okay. Alright, so that's good. And now we're going to look at the tab. Okay. And we are going to now UV map the tab. So I'm going to take the base out of here. So you're going to UV map the tab the same way. I'm going to click and add the same material. So I'm going to go to, when I right click over this now, I'm going to go to assign existing material, energy drink texture. So that kind of gives me the same texture. Do the same thing with the little tab here. Assign existing material. We want the whole can to have the same material. So I'm going to click on here. And I'm going to do automatic mapping. Reset settings and project. There we go. Let's go into my window, UV texture editor. Okay, and there's the tab in all its glory. Okay. So we're going to click on UVs. There we go. And we're going to move those UVs out of here. Alright, so we know those UVs exist. We're going to place them over here. And I'm not going to do anything to these because we're going to use a material or a color, and I'm not really too worried. There's no writing on there or anything like that. The top of the can, there's some writing on the top of the can, so that's why I laid those out. But here, we've got nothing, and we know where the top tab and the bottom tab is. So we're not going to do anything to these. I think it would be a waste of time. But we do have to make sure they're UV mapped properly. It's not really properly, but it is. They're UV mapped. And the centerpiece is so small you won't ever see it. But what I would do is I'd go ahead and automatic map this as well. So let's click on Create UVs Automatic Map. Okay. And let's go into here and see what I did with this. Again, the same thing with this. We're going to move those down. There we go. Okay. So now we're at a position or at a time that we can take everything we have. Okay, so the base and the top. Okay, base on the top. And we got all the elements here. They're all UV mapped now. So what I'm going to do is make sure everything is on object selection mode. Okay. I'm going to shift select everything, or just marquee select everything. Hold down the spacebar, go to mesh, combine. So that's going to combine everything together, and that's okay. That's what I want. Alright, so when I did that, alright, I created a whole new area. That means all my UVs are going to be in the same area. So when you combine something, before we were it was putting everything in the texture space. We pulled them out. So you want to make sure you pull them out. Notice that I did that. I pulled them out to one side, pulled the other ones out bottom. And if you have more than that, we can use the other areas. Okay, so we're not going to really mess with these too much. Maya did an okay job. Let's scale that down. And let's fit them in. Okay, let's go in here and scale those down. And fit them in. Scale those down a little bit. There you go. Alright, so now we've got those done. Let's go in here and select these guys. Scale those down. Move them and fit them in. Okay, there we go. Alright, there we go. That is it. We're finished. And we need to save those UVs one more time. Okay. And I'm going to go to Edit, Delete by Type History. Clean everything up. Okay, make sure it's in object mode. Make sure my UVs are looking good. Yep, they're still there. And now I'm going to save this scene as drink finish low. So I'm going to click on here I'm going to delete that part of it. I'm going to click type in finish UV on here, or UV finished. And save. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's awesome. So now we can delete these. Let's delete the layers. Okay, so now we've got a nice clean object, and we really need to rename it. So I'm going to rename it something important. So let's call this energy drink. Underscore drink. Always do an underscore, no spaces. I did all caps. Doesn't really matter. Energy drink. So let's go ahead and save this one more time. Save scene as. And save. Do you want to overwrite it? Sure. Okay, that's UV mapping a energy drink.